Hi everybody! I am so excited because tonight is book club night. It's our first book club of this year, our Q1 book club. And I am so excited to be welcoming back a previous guest host, Allie from ReidWithAlly, although you might recognize her from her former handle, The Ville Crochet. So let me go ahead and get her on here. The invitation rather. Sometimes it takes a minute for these things to go through though. I don't know why. Yay!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's new with you?
Oh, I just heard you saying I changed my Instagram handle since last time I was on here.
Yep. Yep, you've got all kinds of changes coming
Oh,
up.
yes. Currently 36 weeks pregnant.
What's your due date again?
I'm due February 28th.
Okay.
So
Do you think you're gonna have a leap
I
baby?
don't
That'd be kind of
know.
fun.
Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like, I don't know if I want that or not.
Oh
But my first
goodness.
son came 5 days early, so hopefully this one comes early too.
I hope so for your sake. When I had my second, he took his sweet time. Like I ended up having to get induced because he was so late.
Stubborn.
Yeah, and that hasn't changed. He's 9, so
Oh, that's
has
funny.
not changed. Well, welcome
Thank
back. I'm so excited that you could join
you.
again.
I'm
So,
excited.
for those who are joining us live again, we are here to discuss the Unmaking of June Farrow, which I love this book.
Me too. I thought it was so good.
I did too. And although like it's been a minute since we read it, I know. So like I had to read back over my notes to be like, okay, wait, let's refresh.
Me too. I was like trying to remember all of the details. Even like books I love, I still like forget
Uh-huh.
most of the details after I read them.
Absolutely. But they just stick with you all the same. Like it's not maybe the details, but like the feeling,
Yes,
the
for
vibe
sure.
of it all. And is this your first Adrienne Young book?
Yeah, it was.
I love her.
I
So like
have,
I've read a couple of her other books.
okay, I say I have Spells for Forgetting, and I have that one, but I haven't actually read it yet.
Yeah, Amber from Yarn
Yeah.
Vibes, right? Amber.
Hmm.
So we were talking about it. I get handles mixed up sometimes, sorry. But we did that one for one of our previous book clubs.
Oh,
And it
well,
was it
fun.
was kind of the similar vibe, like the whole it was atmospheric, like
Yeah.
wasn't that wasn't that Adrienne Young? I think I saw Amber on here. Amber, tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong.
Spells for Forgetting is, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought so. I think it's
I
the
was just
same one that she and I read
looking at it
together.
on my shelf today, and I was like, oh, this is the same author.
I'm sitting here like, well, and it's like you said, it's like everything can just get so confused in your head. It's like you read so many, but yeah, she's definitely one of those authors that just sticks with me. The first one of hers that I read was actually an audiobook that I listened to, and it was Sky in the Deep, I think it was
I
called.
haven't heard
It's a
that one.
YA, and it's kind of like Viking-ish.
Oh,
Really neat
interesting.
book. It was
I'll have to add that
very
to.
different, but very like, I mean, her writing is still just as good. It's just different
Yeah.
from what we've
I
gotten used
feel
to.
like she's
But
like always like magic-y and
right. Yeah. I think there's if I gosh, it's been a long time since I read that one too, but I feel like there was some magic with that one too. But before we get into the book stuff, so tell us what's going on with you lately
so
besides baby on the
yes,
way.
one baby on the way. I am currently just living my best stay-at-home mom life. I mostly do that. I work part-time at my church still, so get out of the house and get a babysitter one day a week and go do like communications, social media for the church that we've attended forever.
That's
So I really like.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice
super
that you have
nice.
that.
It's a nice little break.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And
So, sorry,
go
go ahead.
no, go
Oh,
ahead.
I was going to ask, so explain to us a little bit why you decided to make the switch from the Bill Crochet to just doing Read with Allie and
I know.
like all that fun stuff. Are you still going to do any, do you think you'll get back to pattern designing or
I don't think
give us the skinny?
so. I know people keep like people ask me that, and I like posted like a crochet thing I made for someone for Christmas. Everyone's like, "Oh, are you making stuff again?" I'm like, I mean, I am, but not for like business. I don't think that I'll ever get back to like running a business again because I was mostly like selling physical products. And I did like a little bit of pattern design on the side, but I feel like I mostly did like markets and Etsy and all that. So it just became a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't handle like a lot of things on my plate. So I have to I've been working very hard
Prioritize.
to like narrow down where my focus is. So like, and it's kind of like easy to do at stay-at-home mom, but it's not at the same time, like
Yeah.
the like quantity that I was doing. So I still am making things, but I'm getting back to just doing it for fun and for like family members and friends and gifts and all that kind of stuff. So don't think it's in my future to get back into it, but like around Christmas time, I was like, oh man, I kind of miss it. Like I want to go do a market.
And then you
My husband's like,
remember how much
no.
goes into that, and you're like,
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, but then I have to like make all this stuff and then go sit there all day. That doesn't actually sound that
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I totally get that. I
Yeah.
totally get it. And not to mention pattern writing in and of itself is a lot of work. I don't think
Yes.
people realize how much work goes into that. But
No, like to
yeah,
make it, get it tested, all that stuff.
it,
It's a lot.
it is a lot. So now you're focusing on books and your other hobbies like sourdough, which
Yes.
your feed lately has been making me so hungry.
So everyone's like, why are you making all of this
I saw
bread?
brownies on there and I'm like, can I just reach in and grab some of those?
I know it's been like almost a year since I hopped on the sourdough train, and now I feel like everybody is doing like everybody around me is doing it, which is
It's
fun.
totally come back. I feel like it was really big during
Yes,
COVID and then it kind
huge.
of died
Hmm.
off, but then like now it's back.
Yes, that's like, and then like I just randomly was like, I'm kind of bored. Like I have extra time. I'm just home all the time. Like I'll try to make some bread. So a girl at my church that gave me her starter last March, it was like it just popped up not that long ago, and I was like, oh, it's almost been a year of my sourdough making. But it's been actually really fun. I did our local like farmers market last summer. My cousin like wanted to do it, and so I did it with like my family, and I just made a whole bunch of bread and sold it at their local market, which was super fun.
How amazing does your house smell?
There's like this everything bagel, like the everything but the bagel seasoning sourdough bread
Okay.
that you can make, and it smells so
Amber, is
good.
that what you were talking about? She said the bagel breakfast sandwiches had her
Oh
drooling.
yeah, those were everything
Okay.
bagels. I made
All
them
right.
for my postpartum period that's coming up. I froze them. She was like, yeah,
That's
asking me all
smart.
about them.
No, that's smart. Oh man, I
It's
can't. I bet it
it's
smells.
a dangerous hobby.
So my neighbor down the street, she has started doing it too, and she's like always bringing me stuff. She's like, "Well, I can't eat all of it." I'm like, "I don't need to eat all of it."
That's like our small groups and stuff. I just bring it to them. They're like, stop baking stuff. Like, I
It's so
can't. I
good.
don't
I
want it at
can't
my house.
resist it. That's hilarious. So I know you're still making stuff even with crochet. So one of the things that you've been doing recently is making the granny squares
Yes.
to match like the book covers for the books that you've been reading. How's that
It's
going?
going good. I just bought yarn today for my last two books that I read in January. So I'll have five, I think, that I read in January.
Awesome.
I'm starting. So
So
it's
do you
been
have
fun.
a goal for this? Ooh, sorry, I just dropped my pen. Can you hear that? Like,
No, you're fine.
um, do you have a goal for the number of books you want to get read this year that you're gonna make those squares for? Or are you
I my goal was like so last year I read 60 books, which was a lot for me. I think that's the most I've read in a long, long time. But the girl that I saw that made the blanket read like 80 books, and I was like, okay, well that's not going to be me. And so I don't know if I can do it with less. We're going to see how it goes, but I like lowered my goal this year just because I don't know what it's going to look
well,
like
sure.
after having two children under the age of two, but
Yeah.
you never know. And I've been doing a lot of audiobooks recently,
Mm-hmm.
which I never used to do audio, but I've been like reading all my books audio lately, and so that's helping me get through them. So I'm hoping to get around like 50 squares this
Especially
year. We'll
with the
see.
audiobooks, I bet you can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I listen to them all the time.
What do you have some favorite audiobooks that you like books that you've really enjoyed having getting to listen to them on the audio version?
I just finished one today actually, and it was so good. It was called The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. I don't
Ooh, I
know.
think I've heard of that one. What's that
It's
about?
not like super. really commonly like talked about, I don't think, because I haven't heard much about it, but I think it's by Courtney Walsh is the author. It's about this like woman, it's Isadora, she just turns 30 and she just had like a sad life. Like her parents aren't like super great parents and she's just lonely, and like she sees a magazine that's like 31 ways to be happy. So she's gonna like conduct this experiment to like her like goal is to prove the author wrong, that you can't do these 31 things and be happy. But like then she ends up like making new friends and trying new things and stuff. It's just like her little journey into like,
Well, that's really
it's
cool.
really cute, and the audio is like super well done.
Nice. I wrote down that's what I was doing over here. I was writing it down. I just finished, I've been like on a real fantasy kick lately.
Yeah.
And I just finished the last book in the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
read that one?
I haven't read those, no. They're good.
Yeah, I did all of them on audio.
Oh, okay.
So I really enjoyed it. And like I finished it, I had the stupidest grin on my face when I finished the book. That's always a good feeling. But yeah, so
Are you still doing Throne of Glass?
I am. I did finish Throne of Glass.
You finished.
But Crescent City just came out today, the third
I haven't
one.
read those yet.
So I really like them.
Okay.
And then the third, I think it's the third now. Gosh, how many Sarah J. Maas books are there?
I know, it's like there's only like 3 series, but there's so many books.
There's so many books. It almost gives me series fatigue, you know, like I don't want to start another series because
Throne of Glass, I was like, okay, this is a commitment.
It is a commitment, but it was very good. I really enjoyed it. But no, the third Crescent City book just came out today.
Oh,
and
nice.
I had been on the waiting list at my library, and I was like my number was like 596 or something. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening for a while. But then I got like a message saying I have a skip the line copy. I was like, how does that happen?
That's
but okay.
Awesome. That never happens.
I know. So yeah, I downloaded it today, and I'll start it later tonight, I think.
I've seen the cover of that one going around a lot today. It's like such a pretty cover.
Yeah. Amber said, I feel like Crescent City sounds like my jam. Super curious. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it. It's
I want to get to that one.
I mean, I love Sarah J. Maas books, and I do feel like, okay, so I don't come for me. But I loved I liked the ACOTAR series. Mm-hmm. I only loved a couple of the books.
No, I would agree.
Like I liked them all, but I only loved a couple of them.
Yes.
And a lot of times Farrow got on my nerves. So
yes, she got on my nerves, like, and I like loved ACOTAR until I think I read Throne of Glass, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
I like this way better.
Yes, I 100% agree, because I read Throne of Glass after I read ACOTAR, and yeah, I really liked Throne of Glass, and like I felt that Aelin, is that how you say it?
Yeah,
was so relatable as a character, just because she wasn't so cut and dry. She wasn't like, you know, all goody two shoes, always making, like, I felt like she was a morally gray kind of character. I
liked that about her. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like in Crescent City, Bryce is kind of similar, and she's got her own issues. She's got a whole host of issues, but she's very real. So
like, I keep seeing people talking about this, is like Crescent City and Throne of Glass is going to like collide or something in this book.
ACOTAR. So the last book, in book 2 of Crescent City, at the very end, she falls into, like, I don't know, like she goes through this portal. Should I say this? Am I going to spoil stuff?
I don't know. Is it a spoiler? Is it like a major spoiler?
All right, so earmuffs, people, if you don't want to know this. But she goes through a portal, and it basically lands her in the ACOTAR universe.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
She meets Rhysand and Farrow, and like the whole crew was there. Okay,
that's making me want to read that more now.
Definitely a crossover going to happen.
Yeah,
but cool. Yeah, I really like Crescent City.
I won't remember that time I read it. I feel the same way.
I know. That's why I was like, okay, should I say this?
I'll forget.
I don't know. whatever. Earmuffs. No.
No, that doesn't sound like that
I
major of a spoiler. So
swear we could talk about these kinds of books like all day long.
I
That
know,
like
this is name what we're here for.
Okay, so what else have you been reading lately? Anything good that's hit your shelf for your
mm, what have I been reading? This month's been like hit or miss, honestly. I like started with this book, so like my month started off so good, and I was like, oh, I've been reading. I've been listening to a lot of Frida McFadden thrillers.
Oh
So,
yeah. What are some of her titles? That name rings a bell.
so her most popular one, which I haven't even read yet, is like The Housemaid or something, I think.
Oh yeah.
I like
I've got that in my queue.
Yeah, I think that one's like one of her most popular ones. I haven't read it yet, but I just like whatever's available on Libby. There's usually like a ton of her books, so I just pick those and read them. But I've been listening to a lot of those, and they're like just fun, fast thrillers to listen to.
Yarn Republic says, I love spoilers. They make me less stressed. I totally get that. I usually can hold out and not read the last page, but my mom is totally a last page reader. I'm like, you're cheating.
I forget what book I just read, but I was like, if this person dies, I don't want to even finish this book. So I like flip forward just to
Yeah.
see if I can like see them
Yeah.
talking. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Let me just make sure this is going to end how I want it to.
I'm
If it
like,
doesn't,
no, this is not happening.
it's too funny. Well, I guess we can kind of start talking about the book we came here for.
Yeah. So
um,
many books to talk about. There's so many books out there to talk about.
no, so many books, so little time. I think I read like 100 and something last year. It was an ungodly number.
That's crazy.
I have no idea
Good for
how
you.
I managed it. And that's just the ones I reported. That's not counting the ones on my KU account that I did
Oh my
not
God.
because I was too embarrassed to report. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because on my Kindle, like on the cover is like usually these books. I'm like, what are these? Get these off of here.
I get sucked in, man. But luckily they're quick reads and they're usually done in like a day, but still.
That's
Still.
so funny.
All right. So the Unmaking of June Farrow. We were talking about how we both liked it. I'm just going to give a brief synopsis. I'm going to read it from my page because I'm not good at like just spitballing here. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
So she wrote Spells for Forgetting. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. How about that?
glad we were right.
June, what's that?
I said, glad we were right.
Right,
She is
yeah,
the author of that one.
got that one. So June Farrow's mom disappeared, leaving an infant June in the charge of her beloved grandmother. June always reasoned that her mother's disappearance was due to the madness that seems to come for each woman in their family at some point. Then June receives a photo of her mother, impossibly taken from decades before, and when she realizes the red door she assumed was a hallucination is one that she can actually walk through, she leaves 2023 behind in favor of 1951 and tries to solve the mystery of her mother's disappearance. So this is fiction, magical realism, mystery, romance, although I felt like, I don't know, I guess they're like the romance was kind of like,
Yeah,
it
it wasn't really like
wasn't a focus.
no.
It was just a touch of it. So, yeah. So what was your first reaction like after finishing it?
I just really liked it. Like, I just like could not stop thinking about it, and parts of it confused me. So I was like trying to like dwell on that and figure it out in my head. I still haven't, but I just finished it and like loved it. I like explained the whole book to my husband. I was like, "Listen, this book is so good."
Here, you should read it. Does he ever read any of the books that you really like?
He read Fourth Wing last year.
Did he
And that
really?
was like the first book that he's read since like high school.
He sounds like my husband, although yours got a little farther than mine. He won't read anything, even if I tell him he should. I'm like,
Whatever, you're missing out.
Yep, exactly. I'm just gonna like turn on an audiobook in the car on a road trip and see what happens.
See if it gets hooked.
Yep. So without getting into spoilers, what did you think about the time travel element?
When I first like realized that it's going to be like time travel-y, at first I was like turned off because I feel like last year for my book club that like meets locally, we picked so many time hop books, and I was like, no, my gosh, not another time hop book. I can't do it. But this one I actually liked. It was like, it wasn't like a lot. It wasn't like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
So I actually like liked it, and Yeah.
Yeah.
It adds like a unique element to
I
it.
definitely was very confused by all of it, like how it
Yes.
worked.
I
And like
still
the
have no
entire
idea.
time I'm trying to figure out how it worked until about like the last 20% of the book. And then I was like, oh, okay. But I kind of liked that aspect. I know it irritated some people because they're like, well, I don't understand how this is supposed to work. But I think that's kind of the point because she didn't understand either.
Yeah, like
So it's like we're figuring it out
figuring it
with
out.
her.
And like I don't like I still like finishing it to this day, I still don't really understand how it all worked out, but it didn't like take away from the story that you didn't understand that part of it.
Right.
Like
Not at all. No.
I
If
still was
anything, I
able
felt
to
like it kind of added to like your empathy for the character and just like feeling her frustration and
yeah,
her, yeah,
like
her confusion.
she's living it and can't figure it out like
Although I was like, I was really worried, I will say to that point, like I was worried that it was almost going to be one of those situations where maybe the author had decided she didn't understand it and just wasn't going to try and explain it and leave it calling up in the air. But then she actually circled it all back, and I was like, okay,
all
all right, I see
right,
what you did
you
there.
did know what you were doing here.
I was like, is this going to be a cop out? I hope not.
And then this happens. Okay, bye.
All right. So if you saw a mysterious door where it shouldn't be, would you go through it? And if so, when or where do you hope it would take you?
It's like hard for me to like wrap my head around that, but I do not even think I would walk through that door.
I don't think I'd be able to resist. I feel
Like
like I'd have
anxiety in
to.
me would be like, absolutely not. We're
With a
not going
woman
through this.
missing.
Yeah. I've read too many thrillers at this point. No.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
I don't know.
think if I was ever to go through a door, I think I'd want it to go to like my future, not anywhere in my past, but like to see just kind of what my future looks like.
That's interesting.
Because a lot of like, I don't know, like I said, like the anxiety of me is like, heck no, we're not walking through that door. But like a lot of my anxiety is rooted in like the unknown of what the heck is gonna happen. So if I could just like see it,
If you know what's coming.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm the opposite of you in this whole scenario. I feel like I would not want to go to the future because I don't want to know what's going to happen. I feel like I would just
It's
end up
risky.
dreading it if it was something
Yeah,
bad. You know, like I just want to, sometimes ignorance is bliss.
that's very true.
I
That's
don't
true
know.
too.
But I think it would be neat if there was something like that. Like if you had the ability, like in her situation, to like, obviously, I think it like time and space. She traveled through the door to the same place, just a different
Yeah,
time. That could
and
be
like she
interesting.
had like, and I like that she had like a choice the
Yeah.
whole time. Like she could choose if she wanted to or not. Like it wasn't just like gonna like push her through this door or
Right.
something.
There's another author that I read who does the time travel, magical time travel type stuff. I haven't read her in forever. I don't know if she's put out anything new recently or not, but man, I just loved her books. It was kind of like the same vibe as the Susanna Kersley was her name. And
There's
she's like I want to say I read her stuff like probably 10 to 15 years ago. So it's been a minute, but
yeah.
I do like hers are some of the books that I actually go back and
Oh,
reread because I just
cool.
enjoyed them that much.
It's
So,
like she like does a lot of time traveling.
yeah, but in different ways throughout her books. Like there's one where it's more of like a reincarnation and then they're remembering memories from a past life. And then
Oh,
there's another one where it's like she actually travels like back and forth a little bit. And there's different ones, but yeah, I really
oh,
enjoyed
that's
them. So if you like time
cool.
travel stuff that's around
I
the same
do.
vibe,
Yeah, because I like that this one wasn't like your typical. Because I feel like every book that we have read that's like
yes, the
is the Winter
Winter
Sea
Sea.
or
Sorry, I got excited because somebody knew what I was talking about. I'm like, so Yarn Republic she said the Winter Sea. Yes, that is one of my favorites too. Um, Same author.
oh,
So I'm
okay.
sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh no,
interrupt
you're
you. I got
fine. I
excited.
was just saying like this one was like I think it was like unique time traveling for me at least. I haven't read a book that's like that, like where she's remembering parts of a different life.
Yeah,
Mostly I've read books where it's like they can go and like see how their future would be. If not, like they can change it, you know, that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I liked this one. It was unique to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You should check out Susanna Kersley because she's
Okay.
got a similar vibe.
Going
And
to see.
you can read the synopsis and figure out which one is the back and forth and avoid that one. But
Yeah.
I think the Rose Garden or the Rose is in the title. That's the one with the past lives, I think.
Okay.
I'll look it up later.
It's been a minute.
I'll text you. I can't remember anything. It's so much harder as I get older, and kids don't help. And I feel like all my brain cells are very slowly dying.
No, mine right now is like mush. I'm lucky
Well,
to
you've got
remember.
pregnancy brain that helps explain it.
Yes.
Okay, so what did you make of Eamon's reaction to seeing June return? Like when he saw her for the first time,
Oh
like at
yeah,
the
I was
beginning
like
of the book.
super angry. I was super confused at first. It's like I did not understand at all what was happening.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised. Like I don't know. I think I would have expected more of a reaction, but
Yeah, it was just kind of like he was just like mad and it was just like very dismissive. I was like, okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah, and like not explaining anything.
no.
And I don't know. I felt like I wanted to punch him a little bit.
Yeah. It made me very mad at the beginning. I was like, what is this dude's problem?
Right. Amber said there's a Hallmark series out currently about time travel. She can't remember the name, but she's really enjoying it. Is it books? Because Hallmark has books, or is this like a on TV or something? Yeah, I'll have to look that up too.
The only time travel I can't, like the alternate like universes, that's where I get really confused. I can't do that.
So there's one by was it Blake Crouch? Dark Matter, I think is the
Oh
name of
yeah.
it.
I've seen that floating around.
Really good book, but you probably won't like it. Because
If
that's
it's
a
like that,
lot.
no thank you.
That's funny. All right. So how does the setting of a small town farming community in the South impact the story, do you think?
For this one I thought just like the whole like everyone knows everything about everybody played like a big role into it and just like I don't know, I thought it was weird that like there's like a murder investigation from like a year ago that's still like not settled and the sheriff can just show up at your door. Like that's not realistic in
Yeah.
2023.
Right.
So I felt like it made a huge impact like with her
Yeah.
story.
Plus, like the distrust of outsiders
Yes.
kind
Yeah,
of
because that was
aspect of
part
it.
like when she first got there and like everyone was like running away from her and like scared. I was like, what in the world? But then as it like told you more about the town and where she was, it made way more
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Okay, so the primary reason that Esther and Eamon were so scared was the fear that the townspeople would take matters into their own hands, regardless of the law. What do you think about this fear? Was it justified?
I mean, I do think it was justified just because of what we were just talking about. Like people were just showing up and like
Doing
demanding
what
to
they want
talk or you know,
to do.
yeah, like it's just got that kind of town.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like that's one thing about like small towns that hasn't necessarily changed a whole lot over the years.
No.
I feel like that still happens a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all of the non-spoilery questions.
Yeah, there wasn't like
Amber
much.
said it's a series on TV.
Oh, the
She thinks
Hallmark
it's
series.
called The Way Home with Andy McDowell. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I don't actually have TV.
Like at all.
I need to stream stuff if I'm going to watch it. So yeah, we are going to talk spoilers coming up now. So if you haven't finished the book, then either earmuffs or
Prepare to be spoiled.
so yeah, prepare to be spoiled. Okay, so what must it have taken for Margaret or Gran and Bertie/Annie to keep such a secret for so long from June?
Yeah, I mean, I understood their reasoning for keeping the secret. It was frustrating as a reader to like for
Hmm.
them to be like not telling her the full story the whole time, but
Right.
definitely understood it, and that would take a lot to go that long without or just like pretending. that you don't know who she is or like you are to her, like in this life. It would just be super strange.
Plus,
Like
I think that,
her grandma
like,
being younger than her. I was like, I can't wrap my head around this.
yeah, that I think that was the hardest part is just trying to like, if you try and imagine yourself like in Birdie's position,
Yeah,
like
yes.
she's, octogenarian or something, and like an old woman and like talking to her young woman mother in the
Yeah, like
present day. That's just crazy.
it's weird.
Um, yeah, it's a bit mind bending for sure.
Yes.
Um, all right, so let's talk about the big surprises. Um, so obviously we kind of hit on one of them. Birdie is Annie, um, which again, mind bending. What about the fact that Nathaniel murdered Susanna? She didn't jump from the falls.
That
Did
part,
you see that one coming?
I don't. I wasn't that surprised by that
Right.
one. Just as the story built, and like it just didn't make any sense from the beginning. Like her mom just like, dropping her and then abandoning her to, yeah, just
Right.
wasn't adding up.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't surprised by that one either.
No,
Or were you surprised that that it was June that murdered Nathaniel?
I was a little surprised by that one. Yes, I thought it was going to be Eamon.
Yeah.
That was my biggest guess the whole time that it was him.
I was like back and forth between the two of them for the majority of the time, but then
Yeah.
probably like 2/3 of the way in, I'm like, it's totally her.
It's gonna be her. I thought it was gonna be like too obvious, but the way they went about it actually was good and it was surprising to me.
Yeah, yeah. Um, were you surprised that she chose to stay in 1951?
I was a little surprised. I was hoping that she did, just because I don't feel like we got enough of a look at her life in 2023 for me to want her to go back there. But I was a little bit surprised that she stayed
Yeah.
because she kept thinking about like the past and
Yeah. I mean, like, if you put yourself in the character's position, she's got this history. Of course, I don't remember his name. What was his name? The friend. Yeah,
uh,
nobody remembers.
I can't remember what his name was.
I feel
Mason or
like
something? I don't know.
Mason. Yeah, I feel like that's right. Anyway, obviously she's got this child like long relationship. Thank you. Yep, Mason.
Mason.
She's got this long history with him, and obviously when she gets back to 1951, she's having these memories that of him slipping into her conscious,
Yeah.
and I think that it would have been interesting if they had explored that a little bit more. Of
Yeah.
course, that would have made for a really long book, probably, but
It
um,
would have, I thought the same thing. Like I wanted to know more about like what that life would have looked like if she chose that.
right,
Because I thought it was kind of like obvious that she was going to stay. So I was like, we don't know anything about her 2023
right,
life really.
right.
It's like, why would she, like, it just wouldn't make sense for the readers for her to go back there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious about that. But like I definitely was hoping and was glad that she chose to stay in 1951, just like you said, for the primary reason that that was really the only look that we got at.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, she has a husband and a kid here. Like, and I like that she was slowly starting to like remember her life there too.
yeah. Yeah.
So I always like find that like jarring about time travel books when they're just like tossed into their life and they have to like figure it out. It's like that would be so confusing. But I like that she
Right.
was like, slowly remembering.
Yeah, agreed. And it's like the trickling of memories coming in, which I thought again kind of just like the time travel aspect itself was kind of lending itself to her figuring it out, like us figuring it out with
Yeah.
her, because it wasn't like the memories were coming back in sequentially. They were just
No.
coming in at random points and random pictures in her head. And
Yeah.
yeah, frustrating, but
Yeah.
understandable and totally get why she did it. Um, were you surprised that Caleb let June go?
Mm, I was a little bit, yeah, just because he was coming off like so crazy.
Total psycho.
Yes. He was coming off like very strong through the whole book, and I was like, okay, geez, calm down.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally didn't understand why he was so psycho. I mean, I guess I do a little bit because being raised by Nathaniel, I'm sure, was not the warm and loving childhood one would typically expect
No.
a child to be reared in. But um, it just felt like I don't know, maybe it did feel more authentic because it felt like maybe he was angry, but angry because he didn't want to face the facts.
Yeah.
And then she
He
was
was like
forcing him
in
to face the facts. And so
denial.
he directed his anger at
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because like him knowing his dad, like you would think he would have had a little more empathy
Right.
towards June, but yeah, I can see
Right.
that what you're saying.
Yeah. So, okay, well, the next question we already talked about. It was whether we wanted her to stay in 51 or go to 23.
Nothing about 23, so.
Right. So let's talk about Caleb for a minute. Did you sympathize with him at all, knowing what kind of man his dad was?
I mean, I did a little bit. I just like didn't really like even really care about him as a character, really. He was just kind of there making me angry.
What do you think of his abuse of the law and his position to solve the case? Because he broke into June and Eamon's house.
Yes. But then at the same time, like, Eamon kept, like, pointing a gun at him and, like, coming at him, too. And I was like, wait, like, in what universe is this okay? But, like what you were talking about earlier, too, though, like, with small towns, like, I feel like that actually happens.
Yeah.
Like, the abuse of power is just easier done in small little towns like that.
Yeah, it's almost like they feel entitled because they know everybody and know everything about everybody, and if they don't know everything about everybody, they feel entitled to know everything about everybody.
Yes, so they can get away with a heck of a lot more.
Yeah. Why do you think Sam and the rest of the town were okay with Caleb dropping the charges against June? Because remember, like, he let her go and he just dropped all the charges. Like, can you imagine the townspeople being okay with, like, all of a sudden this, like, massive attitude shift towards her?
My like only thought would be like that Caleb was like a beloved like sheriff or whatever he was. So like if he made a decision, they just kind of like went along with whatever he thinks.
Yeah, I doubt that he's telling them he got his evidence illegally.
No, I don't think he's giving them the full picture.
And what do you think happened to him after he moved away from Jasper? Do you think he was able to? I always kind of like to say, well, what do you think happened after the last page?
I don't really know. What did you think about that?
I feel like he went somewhere to maybe like deal with his demons. Like I felt like at the end, once she explained everything to him and he understood, and when he let her go, I think it was like a turning point for him. So I'm hopeful that he made a fresh start somewhere.
Yes.
And
he definitely needed to get like he definitely needed to get out of that town
for sure
and far away from all of that.
Yeah. I thought you were going to tell me I didn't think about what happened to him after the fact because I didn't like him and I don't care.
No, I do the same thing. Looks in, I'm like, someone was like, I want another one. Like, tell me what happens afterwards. Like, keep going.
I just think it's fun to hypothesize sometimes. Okay, so this book delves into what it means to be family and how far you're willing to go for them. Was there anything about this story that resonated with you when you were reading this book?
I mean, yeah, I just like that, like her whole like point and mission was to like find out what happened to her mom, yes, but also to like stop this whole cycle for like her daughter and for herself, like so they can have a better life.
Yeah.
And I think any mom can relate to that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, to the point that she was so self-sacrificing with it because she didn't know what was actually going to happen to her in this concept. It was all, a theory, really, that she was hoping worked out for the best.
Yeah, like she didn't even care. It was all for her daughter, really, and her future, and I really like that.
Yeah. And I also think, like, not just her, but also Esther and Annie and what was Grandma's name? Was that Esther? Gosh, I'm horrible with these names.
Me too. Because I kept, even like when I was reading, I kept having to like remind
I
myself
know.
who they were. I'm like, that's the grandma. Like,
Right. Let me see
Esther,
where are my
Annie,
notes. Margaret was grandma. Okay,
Margaret.
so Esther was like a cousin or an aunt or something, or great grandmother or somebody. And then thank you, Yarn Republic. Margaret. She's got the names. I'm
There's
like,
lots of
yeah.
names.
But like how they stuck together, like even, not necessarily understanding or um, what was all going on or having the full story themselves, they backed their family, like
Yeah.
they had their back.
Yes.
Um,
And they all stuck to this like plan that they had and
right. No, yeah, we read it like I don't know, when did you finish this? I finished it still
uh
like in December, so it's been
I
a
was like
minute.
I think the first week of January, so I read it pretty
Yeah.
fast. But yeah, the details are
Yep.
slipping.
For sure. Um, let's see. Was there anything that sat wrong with you about this story?
Sat wrong. I still just think that the whole 2023 life, I just wanted more of that.
Yeah.
And Mason and his storyline. I just didn't like that it was like I feel like she was like trying to make it like conflicting for her, but I was like, we don't have enough information to care.
Right.
And then and Eamon's like I understand it, but I didn't like his like initial reaction and all that. Like when they said like that they were upset because she left the daughter or something, like it's like that just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Like then
Yeah.
being mad at her for that.
It's not like she could really help that if they knew that was the plan, or maybe they didn't know. Did they know that that was her plan the entire time? I don't think they did, though.
I
Oh,
don't know.
that's a good point. They never
They
explained
just
why these ladies were able to time travel, or if she did, she missed it. I don't think they did.
I don't think
I
so either.
think it
Yeah,
was
like
just
why is
like,
one family?
I think it was just a family trait. Um, you just have to embrace the magic, Amber.
Everyone's like me. I'm like, I need a prequel, like explaining what the heck is
Yeah,
going
can I
on.
get a novella? Thanks. Ooh, that's what she should do. She should give us a novella of like the 2023 version.
Oh yeah, she should. I want to see what life she missed out on.
Did you have anything else that you thought about this one that you wanted to share?
um, I think this is the only thing that's like I guess I gave it 4.5 stars, not five, because I still didn't understand the time traveling thing. Like the part where she's explaining like how it all worked out and like all stuff. I was like, I read it like 3 times. I'm like, I don't understand.
I reread it a few times trying to make sense of it, and I did finally understand it, I think, but because it's been so long since I read it, I could not explain it to you right now.
No, just like the like she can go back, but she can't go back to like somewhere she's already been, and
Yeah, like it felt like, I don't know. It was definitely trippy for sure. Hang on, I was gonna look up those I'm gonna look up that Susanna Kersley book. Hang on one second. Because now I'm like thinking about it, and we've got extra time anyway, so
yeah. Do they have? Does she do a better job of explaining the time travel aspect in this book?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it made sense to me. Like, I think there's with some of this, like her stuff is very much magical realism too. So with that, you just have to take it with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
Like you just have to take it for what it is,
Yeah,
which I think is kind of what you have to do with this one too. Um,
be okay with not understanding
right.
everything.
I can never spell her name right. There we go. Yeah. So Susanna Kersley. So yes. So Yarn Republic was right. Winter Sea is one of them. And I think that might have been the first one of hers that I read. But I think, and that one was a good one. I really like that one. I think you would like that one.
Okay.
But the Rose Garden is the back and forth one. So
Okay.
maybe not that one.
So maybe
Mariana
that one.
was really good.
I think I just needed like a break from all those kind of books. I read so many in a row.
Yeah.
Can I write this down? The Winter Sea.
And Mariana.
Mariana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mariana was the one with the past lives.
Okay.
So, but
Remembering.
yeah, I still really like this book, and I do want to go back. I think she's written like a lot of YA. I think Spells for Forgetting was her first adult novel.
Oh, really?
I feel like somebody
I did not
knows
know that.
differently, they can correct me, but I think it might have been because she did a lot of YA before that. Like the Fable series is her, which is on my to read list, but gotta get through this Crescent City book
I feel
first.
like who wrote The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue?
Oh, hang on.
So I feel like I get her and that author mixed up. I don't know why.
I agree. I totally agree. Um,
Like I
oh,
went into this book
that was
thinking it
V.E.
was
Schwab. Which
okay.
did you like that one?
Yes, I love that book.
So I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how many stars I gave it. I gave it 4 stars.
That's pretty
But
good still.
I just didn't 5-star it.
Okay.
It was probably one of those that like I don't know if I'm just being contrary because I feel like every time there's a book that gets like super hyped on TikTok or Instagram or wherever,
Yeah.
I'll read it and I almost never get like I don't get as excited about it as everybody else.
I usually feel that way.
Yeah. And
This one I think was
think
like one of the exceptions.
Addie LaRue, I mean I liked it. It was different. You know what one I really did not get was the Atlas 6. Did you ever read that one?
No.
So that's a series. I think it's the same author. No, it's not. It's Olivia Blake or something.
I've
Anyway,
like heard of it a bunch,
yeah,
I think on TikTok.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you've seen it. I just nope.
No. Like seriously, like now, like once I hear a book like goes crazy, I like, am very hesitant. I didn't love Fourth Wing.
Really?
Uh-uh.
So I did like that one a lot. That was one that I know, but here's the thing: I fully admit to the fact that it is completely derivative, and
Yes.
I see everybody's point on why they don't like it, but I still enjoyed the hell out of
But like,
it.
hey, that's fine. I gave like 3 stars on Goodreads, and my cousin like texted me and she was like, "How could you rate this so low?" Like she was like so mad at me. It's like, I'm sorry, I just didn't like it.
All right, let me catch up on comments. So Amber was saying she's read Fable and it is a series. Yeah, I want to get to that series. And she's confirmed that Spells for Forgetting was this author's first adult novel.
Okay.
And she too has been burned by the hype. Yarn Republic said she didn't like Fourth Wing either, or didn't love it. Same with Amber. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think I
think I've
totally
talked to
see
both
it.
of them about
What's that?
it. I said I think I've talked to both of them about Fourth
Yeah.
Wing.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I can totally see it. I can acknowledge all of your points and even agree with you on them, but I still had fun with it.
Hey, even my husband liked it, so it's fine. He's like, "You didn't like it?" I'm like, "Well, listen, this is like your first book you've read since high school, so
Right, when it was required reading to read
yeah.
like a separate piece and you know
You're now reading
all the
for
depressing
fun.
things, all the depressing books.
Seriously.
Oh my goodness. So I saw on one of your reels recently that you read what was it, the Inheritance Games?
Hmm.
Was that
Um,
good?
I didn't like love them. I only read the first 2. I think there's like 3 or 4 at this point. But
Yeah, I've got like this series fatigue thing going on right now. So it's like if I have to
yeah,
binge a whole series, I don't know
and
if I
they're
have
like
the
they're very YA, so they're like super fast, and like the chapters are super
Mhm.
short. So it's like you feel like you're just like flying through them. But I liked the first one, and then the second one, I was like, okay, this is like I don't feel like it needed to be this whole big long series. But
Yeah.
the first one's
Good
like
to know.
fun and fast to read.
Good to know. I did read do you like the do you like thrillers or no?
Hmm.
Did you read the Silent Patient and
Yes.
any of his stuff? So he just came out with a new one, The Fury,
Oh yeah, I
last
saw that.
earlier this month. And so I read that one, and like I feel kind of bad because I actually got an arc on it, but it was just kind of
Was
lackluster.
it?
It was okay.
I was wondering about it because I liked The Silent Patient. I think it was like one of the first thrillers I read too. So it was like I like extra enjoyed it. But then I read The Maidens by
Hmm.
him, and I did not like that one.
Yeah. I feel like he started up here with Silent Patient, and the Maidens was like here, and then this one was
Yeah,
like here.
even lower than Maidens.
So maybe avoid it.
Okay, yeah. It was one of the book of the month options I saw, but I didn't pick it.
Yeah. I think we both have this as our book of the month pick.
Yeah, for October.
Yep. I got the storm book from last month. The
I
Storm We
picked.
Made.
I think I didn't pick one last month. Me and Amber Yarn Vibes on here. We talked about it. I'm trying to read the books that I actually have on my
Trying
shelf
to
before I get any new
be good.
ones. Yes, I
How's
have
that
so
working for
many.
you?
So far, it's good. But I keep getting. That's like why I keep getting duds of books. So I like pick them. I'm like, this is terrible.
Like I feel like maybe I'm reading so much that I'm getting super judgy on books, and like, or I'm going like a complete 180 where I'm just like, yep, I like that. You get 5 stars, and you get 5 stars, and you get 5 stars. No, I'm just kidding. I usually am more like in the 4-star range if I like it, unless it's really knocking my socks off.
Yeah,
But
so I
I
have
don't
to really
know.
love it to give it five
Yeah.
stars. And,
Hey,
and I
Layla's
have
here. She said she finally finished The Fury and was disappointed. Same. Yeah. We need to
that's
talk more about that.
that's disappointing.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, let's see. Yarn Republic. Okay, Yarn Republic, what is your name? Because I'm tired of.
Stephanie.
Did anybody here listen to the audio for this book? I had a real love hate with the narrator. Her secondary characters were great, but her main voice was very sleepy and almost. I did not listen to the audio,
I
but now
didn't
I'm going to
either.
go listen to a sample of it. Steph, hi, Steph. The cover is at least cool on the
Oh,
Fury.
sure.
I don't know, man. I don't even think it's cool, and it doesn't have. It's not relevant. Like, what is it? Like,
Is
what
it
is
like
this
the
big
eyeball
eyeball?
looking one? Yeah, I was gonna say. Is it just a big
I don't
eyeball?
know. That one was lost on me. Totally
And you read
lost
it and
on
it
me.
still doesn't make any sense?
No, no, it doesn't. I no. I will say that their marketing for it was pretty awesome because like when they sent the arc, they sent it with this. It was like the like greeting cards you open and it makes sound. It was
Yeah.
one of those, and it has like this whole like creepy, sinister vibe going,
Oh,
which I thought
that's
was
cool.
really interesting, and it made me
Yeah.
super excited to get into the book. And then I'm like getting into the book, and I'm like, this sucks. And I mean, like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said it like that. That was really mean. But like, I guess what I meant to say is that I mean the chapters were really short, so
Okay.
you can fly through them,
I like that.
but they dragged. And
Mm.
I did not want to keep going. I mean, if I wasn't like if I didn't feel obligated to post a review for it because I
Once you
got the arc,
got it,
I
yeah.
probably wouldn't have finished it. I
Really?
probably would have DNF'd it. Yeah.
Dang. That's
Yeah, no,
funny.
Amber, it is not relevant to the book at all. I kept waiting for it to be like some necklace or something. No, nothing. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's some like Greek symbol that has something to do with an island. I don't know,
Did
but
she like put like Greek mythology stuff in that book
yeah,
too? Because that's what I hated about
all
the
his
movie.
books have Greek stuff in
No,
there.
not for me.
But this one didn't explain it. So, yeah,
Wow, even better.
it's waiting
Wait, does the silent
for me at
patient
the
have?
library, but I might just skip it. Yeah, probably. Or you can read it and then commiserate with everybody that wasted their time on it. I mean, it could go either way.
That's just like been sad lately. I'm like, I can pretty much like tell if I'm gonna like a book or not pretty quick, but like I just physically can't not read a book. I don't know why. Like once I start it, I'm like, I have to see it all the way through.
Yeah, I
I've been reading such
used to be
bad
like
books.
that, but I have like once you have that second kid, girl, you're gonna be like, my time is more valuable than that.
My time is precious.
Yes. I think like it depends on the book, but like if it's like a standalone novel, I give it 25 to 30%. If I can get a third of the way through the book and you haven't grabbed me, I'm going to DNF it. More than likely. If it's a start of a series, I'll give you, especially if it's a fantasy series, I'll give it 50% because there's so much scene setting, world building, information dumping, right? You get 50% on the first book in a new series. And then if it hasn't grabbed me, I'll stop.
That's what I've heard about Crescent City is that like, the first like 100 pages is like super confusing.
Yeah. There's definitely world building.
So it's like, I feel like I haven't started it because of that.
I think it'll be okay though. You liked her other books.
Yeah, Throne of Glass took me a minute to get into.
Yeah.
Like I was like 3 books in, I'm like, I am not understanding the hype.
Really?
Yeah, like it took me until like, I think Heir of Fire is when it changed for me. So that's like, what, 3rd or 4th book?
I think with like, I liked that one pretty much the entire way through. I thought there was enough action and stuff happening that made it interesting for every book. But for me, her like my least favorite of her series so far is ACOTAR, only because that first book, man, I finished that and I'm like, I have no desire to go on to book 2. Like, none. You know? And then finally it took so many people, like 10 years later, you know, how many years later, coming back to me and saying, no, you really need to give it a chance. The series is amazing and it's all of the things. And I'm like, fine, I'll read it again. But if I don't like it the second time around, I'm not finishing it and you can't make me.
To make her first books more interesting.
Yeah, I think maybe she does.
I read Throne of Glass. I liked the first one. But then I like could not stand her, like, well, she was Selena at that point. I did not like her at all. So I was like, I don't want to read this whole series about this woman. And then I read The Assassin's Blade next, the prequel or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I liked her more, so that it kept me going.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was like, you make it rough for people to want to buy into your series, lady.
I don't think she's struggling with it though.
No, she's not.
Not at all. Oh my goodness.
She can do what she wants.
Well, we are coming up at the end of our hour, so we should probably say goodbye. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me about all things, not just about this book, but about all of the books. It's always so fun to talk with other book lovers and hang out and talk yarn and sourdough and brownies and all of the things.
All the stuff.
We can't wait to see some pictures of your new baby boy at the end of the month. I'm hoping for a leap baby.
You're hoping for a leap year baby?
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, girl. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for joining on, and we will catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.